I just wanted to do a quick video here. I saw an opportunity. I'm out here for a walk in the woods behind my house, and I guess this one probably should come with a little bit of a trigger warning for people who suffer from trypophobia, the sort of fear of holes or arrangements of holes, patterns with involving holes and sometimes squiggles. Makes them feel fear, I guess, is, from what I've been told, not exactly the right word, but you know, an uneasy feeling. So if you have trypophobia, this video may not be for you, unless you're my friend Matt, who does have trypophobia, but I want him to see this because I send him that weird stuff anyway. It's right here on this tree right behind me. So you see all these little holes, and see this particular area right here has this strange rectangular sort of grid arrangement of the holes. This is all damage, and you can actually see some of them have been regrowing a little bit inside the hole. But this is all damage from a bird called a sapsucker. And you'll never guess what a sapsucker does. It sucks the sap from the trees. So it's a woodpecker. It's a type of woodpecker. But instead of what normal woodpeckers do, or all the other woodpeckers, I guess it's not really right to say normal woodpeckers and sapsuckers. Anyway, whatever. Normal woodpeckers peck on trees, and they're trying to find little grubs and stuff that are growing inside the trees. And they peck them, they peck a hole to try to root out the grub, and they actually have this crazy long tongue that is, I'm not sure if it's like adhesive or barbed, or I don't know, but it can like shoot into the hole that they've made, and like little channels that the little grubs are going into the tree, and pull them back out and into the woodpecker's mouth. And then weirdly enough, their tongue wraps around their brain and cushions it for when they're pat, 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 just hammering. You can imagine that would scramble your brain if you are using your head as a hammer and a chisel, and you don't have any sort of adaptation to handle that. That is the adaptation that they have. Their tongue wraps around the brain inside their skull to cushion it. Anyway, so this is a type of woodpecker that does this, sapsucker. And it makes these little holes, and the idea is that it wounds it, kind of like somebody tapping a tree for maple syrup. It wounds the tree, and a little bit of that sap leaks into the hole. And that sap is mostly water. It's got a little bit of sugar in it though, so it does it a whole bunch. And you can imagine that that could severely hurt the tree, but that's part of why this pattern is so interesting, because the sapsucker's not trying to kill the tree. The sapsucker doesn't want to kill the tree. The sapsucker wants to come back to the tree later and the tree be alive to suck more sap. So it makes these little holes and it spaces them out so that there's this little gap between them that the tree can still sort of survive, because you can actually kill a tree fairly easily by what's called ringing it just underneath the bark. This is an elm tree, I believe. Yeah, just underneath the bark is really the only living part of the tree. The bark is kind of like dead skin. You could sort of think of it that way. It's dead tissue. Kind of like our hair and nails almost. They're not really alive. This way you can clip them and not feel pain or any detriment. And then underneath that bark is a layer of living tissue that actually, the cells divide in both outward and inward. The cells that are left behind on the inside as this layer grows outward is what becomes wood, and the cells that are kind of extruded outwards from that layer is what becomes the bark. And that layer in between the two is called the cambium layer. That's what stays alive. That's the living part of the tree. That's what has the sap going from the leaves that are photosynthesized up there down to all the other parts of the plant, the other leaves, the roots, everything in between. And also it contains the water and minerals that are coming up from the roots and going up there. So the sapsucker is sort of damaging that layer, creating a little hole so that all that goodness leaks out. They can lap it up, a little bit of sugar water. And you can kill a tree by cutting through that layer all the way around it. If you do it all the way around it, then the tree is the roots are disconnected from the top. You have cut the tree in half. There's nothing but that dead layer of wood, or that dead column of wood, the trunk, holding it up. So it stays there. Might look like it's alive for a little while, but it's not. But the sapsucker leaves these little gaps between each of the holes. And even up here where it's got this sort of rectangular pattern, it's very strategically left this little space in there so that all the goodness flowing up and down inside the tree can still get around all that damage, all those holes. And in that way, keeps the tree alive. And it's done it all the way up and down this tree. It's pretty amazing.